Hello and welcome to Between the Books. My name is Isadora.
And my name is Shannon.
And today we're going to be discussing Slasher Summer by E.L. Chen. But before we get into that, Shannon, tell me what you're currently reading.
So I'm currently reading The Isle in the Silver Sea by Tasha Suri. Have you heard of this book?
No.
Oh, okay. So this is like one of those books that was like popular last year because it came out with all the like lady night books. So it has a lady night in it. Also for like pitched as like fans of the Everlasting.
Of course.
Which is me. I am the fan. I am the fan actually.
Yeah.
But it's about like a version of the UK that is built directly on stories. It's very like fantastical kind of in that element. So I don't even know how long, but there will be people that are called incarnates that are like basically reincarnations of myths in this country's past. Not like actual myths like in our day, but like, you know, fake in-universe myths. Yeah. And these incarnates are kind of like cursed or destined to live out the tale. For example, the main tale, the myth, is called The Knight and the Witch. And in that tale, the knight and the witch end up killing each other. So in this one, we follow someone who's the reincarnate of the knight and the other person who's the incarnate of the witch. And these tales like physically like hold up their isle. Like sometimes if the tale changes or it doesn't go the way that it's supposed to, this will actually damage the land. Yeah. And so the government has like this organization who's trying to protect these incarnates so that they live out their tale. But there's the initial incident in this book is that someone's going around and killing incarnates.
How do they know they're an incarnate? Like, are they born as a baby and live their lives knowing this? Like, how does that work?
So they kind of just have a vibe. Like, they kind of sense it.
Oh, okay.
But there's also a test that they do.
Oh, okay.
Where they go around testing people. Kind of like in One Dark Window where they go around testing. I know you didn't read that. But it opens with them going around testing people. It's kind of like that. So they go around testing.
Kind of like in
Divergent.
and Shadow and Bone.
And Shadow and Bone.
There's so many.
That's right? Just a trope. Yeah. Anyway, so there's that. So they go around like testing people and then they realize, and then they kind of have a feeling that, and then they kind of figure out, especially when they meet someone else who's like part of their tale, they're like, oh, I'm this person in this story.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the government finds out, and that's the worst thing.
Because they have to like track you basically.
Yeah, then they like track you. Yeah.
Wow, that sounds really good.
Yeah,
I
really like it so far. It's also sapphic. It's about two women, so that's kind of. There's nothing. I'm not too far in. I'm 150 pages in. This is quite a big book. It's 480 pages, I think. It's good so far. It's good. I'm still like 150 pages in. I'm still in the beginning.
Yeah.
So they're still like they've kind of just like explained basically everything I said in the summary just got explained to me, and now they're kind of starting out like the main two girls going out like on their journey, and I'm really excited to see where it goes.
Wow, that sounds really fun.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Is it a series or is it a standalone?
It is just a standalone.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been meaning to read Tasha Suri's books for a long time. She's known for a different fantasy trilogy that I like own in ebook, and I also own in paperback. It's The Jasmine Throne, and I've been meaning to read it for so long. I own it, and I just haven't read it yet. But so this is my first Tasha Suri book, and if I like it, I'm really excited to read some of her other work. But yeah, what are you currently reading? Oh my god, wait. I'm not going to tell. The previous incarnate, so there's the Knight and the Witch. And the previous incarnate of the witch, her name was Isadora.
No way.
Yes! What? Yeah! And it's like in the second page.
Oh my god, but she's not like a character. It's just like mentioned.
It's like mentioned, yeah. So it's like the knight sees the witch for the first time and she calls her Isadora because that's like what she like remembers. Like they don't like remember their past lives, but they get like
interesting
feelings and like visions and stuff.
Yeah.
So like she sees the witch for the first time and she's like, I know you're Isadora. Whoa. And I'm like, Isadora mentioned.
So rare. That's so rare. Like I've only seen my name twice, and one of them is in the One Dark Throne series, like the character that like got killed, and she was just mentioned. And there is an Isadora in the Series of Unfortunate Events series.
Oh, that is true.
Yeah.
I remember that.
So
This Isadora does die, though. I'm sorry. She's already dead by
one
the start of the
day.
book.
One day, if anyone is writing a book right now, the name's right there for you. You could use it. It's okay. Then let me know because I want to read it. Anyway, so what I'm currently reading, I'm not reading anything because I just finished this book last night. But I also finished another book that I want to talk about. It's called Astra by Cedar Bowers. And it's a Canadian author, and it's takes place in like British Columbia, because I'm reading it for my book club at work, and we wanted to choose like a Canadian author or a Canadian story, so that got picked, and I gave it 5 stars. Like, it's so good, but it's kind of just like, it's a very simple story, but the way that it's done is so good. It basically follows the story of this girl named Astra, and she's born in a commune, like in a farm commune, and she's just kind of raised by her dad, and he's like doesn't really care. He never really wanted a kid in the first place, and they're like, she's basically a little neglected and just like not raised like a child should be type thing. But the book is written by sections, and each section is from the POV of someone in Astra's life. So we're never in her POV. It's not like a third person or anything like that. Like, it is like a first person POV of someone in her life. So there's like the POV of her father, and then there's like a POV of this girl that she knew. And it's like years go by. This is throughout her whole life. And so there's like, then there's the guy that she dated. There's this person that she worked with. And there's just like, the whole book is just us seeing Astra through other people's eyes.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and how she's perceived and how she interacts with people, and like, just how much her childhood affected her, and how like her, and then you see her as an adult and like eventually having a child and all that, and just like how she is. And then it's really interesting because it's like by years. So for example, like you see this person, and then like someone she's dating, and then the next chapter, the next section is by someone else, and they're like, oh yeah, so Astra has been like single for this amount of time, so it's like it's been years, and you're just getting little tidbits from here and there from all her life, because sometimes it's people that she doesn't even know that well. It's like someone that she knew briefly for a period of time. I don't know, it's just like really well done. It's very
yeah.
I got to the end, and I was listening to the audiobook, which is really good, and I was cooking yesterday and listening to the audiobook, and I started crying because the end was like it just made me very emotional. So I really recommend it. I've never read a book like that before, and especially for the audiobook, I think. And yeah, it's just it's not a crazy plot. It's just like a book about this person, but it's really good. I really recommend. So that was Astra. Yeah, so I think we're now gonna go and talk about Slasher Summer. And if you heard our previous episode, we were recommending summer books. So this one we got at the Emerald City Comic Con. We got it as an ARC, which is an advanced reader's copy. So it's out already.
Yes, it is already out. Yeah.
So this one is kind of like, there might be some changes from the actual published work,
yes,
but I don't think anything big. So hopefully whatever we say is actually in the final copy. But if not, then don't blame us. It was an ARC. So yeah, Shannon, tell us what the book's about.
Years after high school, a group of friends reunite at a cabin where their favorite horror film, Slasher, was filmed. However, when the group of friends find their tires deflated and the phone line disconnected, they realize someone is trying to make their Slasher experience as authentic as possible.
Ooh, spooky.
So we talked about this briefly, like in our previous episode, we talked about summer books, but specifically horror books in summer seems to be on the rise.
Yeah.
In publishing. And summer like camps, like cabins in the woods, like that kind of stuff has always like been like a setting in horror films and horror books and stuff that's like just classic. Like this book is like a love letter to those kinds of 80s slasher like films and books. And so what was like your experience with that genre before reading this book?
So I'm not a huge horror movie person, like people getting possessed or like ghosts or like stuff like that. Like that really scares me. But slasher movies has like in my experience. Like I've been able to be fine with them. Like there's the jump scares and there's like the scary parts, but not that I've seen every slasher movie. I've not, but I usually do have a good time with them, and especially if it's like the cheesier ones, like Scream or there's Ready or Not. Now I'm blanking on all the movies, but there's like Cabin in the Woods. They're just a fun time to watch with your friends. There's stuff that you get those little jump scares and everything, but it's not something that's gonna like haunt you at night, personally. So yeah, I have watched a couple, and I feel like the only book that I've read that's slasher is the Final Girl Support Group, which Shannon has read as well. But that's a very different one than this one. That one's more like darker, and this one had a lot of comedy to it. Like the thing with this book that it says right at the back, it's Breakfast Club meets like slasher movies, and that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. Like if you go into this book and it's exactly what you want it to be like playing so much into those stereotypes, those like that formula that we see in slasher movies, then you're probably gonna like it, especially with the stereotypes from like something like the Breakfast Club with like the jock and the pretty girl and the goth girl and the nerd and all that. That's a big part of the book, and like the author kind of just took those elements and really went hard. It was not subtle, basically. It's not subtle at all. So I didn't like the book because that wasn't what I wanted. Like I wanted something that was inspired by that. I wanted like a slasher story that sure could have some funny elements, but that still kind of like maybe even made you a little scared. But that was not really what that was. I wish it had just been more subtle, more like, yeah, use those elements, but don't make them so on the nose. But yeah, there's a lot to say. But Shannon, what did you think of the book?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I didn't like this book very much, partly for all the reasons that you said. I am generally not someone who picks up a lot of slasher or horror movies. Not even just because like I'm scared or anything. It's just not a genre that I gravitate towards in general. I haven't seen Scream, but we talked about it before we started recording this podcast. I do want to see it. It sounds good. So I didn't know anything about like the genre cliches or tropes before reading this book. And it's like at a certain point, like you don't need to, like you truly don't. Even though that this is a love letter to like those kinds of movies. And like the big thing is I was like, I wonder if you're like a really big fan, if you would like those things in the book, but it's just too referential to me. And it's not even referential to like, or at least, actually, sometimes it is referential to a specific movie. Sometimes they'll be quoting things and be like, "Oh, this just like in Friday the 13th, just like in this movie." So they are referencing real movies, and they're also referencing the fake in-universe movie slasher. But slasher, like as far as you've told me, like in the book, the movie seems to be based heavily off of like Scream.
It does
remind
me a lot of Scream. Yeah.
So it's like in that way, it's like referencing Scream as well. And like maybe in this kind of way, it reminds me a lot of like Ready Player One.
Okay.
Where you're like referencing a lot of 80s movies.
Yes.
And remember we were like, I don't care. I don't care. And like, even though like, yes, I've seen Monty Python or whatever, like I don't care when you're milking like someone's nostalgia off of that. Yeah. And this felt kind of like the same thing, where it was like maybe milking people's nostalgia off of those movies, but there wasn't enough in the story itself other than it not even like referencing, but poorly embodying the tropes in those movies.
I just feel like it just wasn't original.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like there was nothing original about it. It's as if you went to... And there's like other stuff like you can do a romance book exactly like doing the same thing where you get like the tropes that are so obvious, and then it just feels like they're following a formula, and you're like that nothing's original about this. Or even like maybe like a fantasy like journey. Like I've read like there's like this one fairy book I've read that's a fantasy book, and I was reading and I was like, I literally hate this because it just feels like they're using the tropes and the things and doing exactly what you would expect it like it's like I've seen this before.
Yeah.
You know, like none of this, like it just didn't feel that. It just felt like very much like obviously each character has like a quote unquote original backstory, but it was all so put into that formula that there was nothing surprising to me. There's nothing like catching my attention. And the thing about all the references is that like, so I am a film person, like I work in film and I went to film school and like lore drop.
She went to film. No, you mentioned it before. She went to film school, Your Honor.
Oh God. But the thing is like, I've been around a lot of film people and maybe there are people like this. Just haven't been around people like this, but just referencing, like being a fan of a genre, you're not referencing it all the time in your real life. Like you're not doing that. That's not normal. And like this book reminded me a lot of, if any of you watch Pretty Little Liars Original Sin, which is this kind of spin-off Pretty Little Liars show that came out a couple of years ago. They only had 2 seasons and it got canceled, but I really liked it. It was more on the slasher vibes and I thought that was really fun. But there was this character named Tabby. And she works in the movie theater and she loves horror movies and she quotes horror movies all the time. Like she references it every single line that she does, to the point that I was screaming for her to shut up because it was so annoying. Like I was like, I hope she dies because I actually can't handle this anymore. Like anything that would happen, she'd be like, oh, just like what happened in this movie? Or she'd be like, oh, we should do this, like how they did this in this movie. And I'm like, no one says that. And so with this book, like I get that it's, like you said, like for the fans, kind of like a little nostalgia, like, oh, look at all these fun little references we can put in. But it just didn't feel natural. It felt so forced. And it just, I don't know. It was really bothering me. Like sometimes, like there's a way to, like if they should cut the references by half, like that would help. Like you don't need to reference every single time. Yeah.
Like they would also come up at like inappropriate times.
Yeah.
Very often. We can shift into talking about the writing because I even think like maybe my main gripe with this book is just how it's written.
Yeah.
It's basically told in first person with each chapter following a different member of the friend group.
Yeah.
And like, so it's multi-POV. And first off, all of the characters are very similar. Mm-hmm. There's nothing very distinctive about each of their voices other than they're kind of all annoying.
Yeah. Exactly. No, you're so right. I didn't think of that. They all speak the same way. They have like, they're supposed to be different. Like one is the jock, one is the popular girl, one's not. And they have like different issues they're dealing with or backstories.
Or things that are like prevalent in their mind.
But the way they speak is the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right.
And they would reference the movies and stuff in ways that like, I'm like, why are we bringing this up now?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's not funny. It's like, yeah, like it affected the tone of the book quite a bit, where it's like I could never take anything in this book seriously. And like maybe that's not what the book wanted to do. It seemed like it wanted to be more slapstick.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't even know.
But I don't know, and that's the problem. Yeah. Like it didn't go full either.
Yeah, but yeah, there were scenes where it was like, this is supposed to be scary. Like you're literally in the middle of the woods, like trying to run from a killer or whatever, and you're saying dumb shit. You're having dumb thoughts. Like, this is not the time. You're, like, literally being chased with, like, a guy with an axe. And you're, like, thinking about, it was really annoying. It was like, yeah, there's no way you would not be thinking about this right now. Another thing that was really annoying about the writing is how repetitive it was.
Yes.
Especially because we got the different POVs. There was, like, one specific, or just, like, like a specific thing that happened in high school. Or, like, multiple things, I guess. But it was... we were getting everyone's take on it. Multiple, like they talked about stuff all the time. So it was like, oh, there's this one issue, and then we're gonna hear it from like Carrie's perspective, and then we're gonna cut to the next, and then it's Patrick, and then Patrick's thinking about the same thing, and he's explaining the whole thing again from his view, and then we go to Mikey, and he's thinking the same thing and it was just like, we get it, like we already heard this already mentioned in the first chapter, like we don't need to get, and it's just a lot of like we were talking about, it's like not a lot of show don't tell. It was just a lot of telling.
There's a lot of tell.
The inner monologues, there was way more inner monologue than actual dialogue.
Yes.
Which really bothered me.
Okay, yeah. So this is kind of where I want to bring up Until Dawn. So I told you about this. So this is a video game, pretty popular video game that came out, a very long time ago. In my head, I'm doing the math. I think it came out in like 2014, something like that. Or 2013. Sorry, I didn't look this up ahead of time. But the reason I want to bring up Until Dawn is because superficially, this is like very similar to Until Dawn. And Until Dawn is about like a group of high school friends who go up to this cabin, and then there's a monster that's like cutting them down. It's a video game instead of a book. So it's a video game, so we don't see or we don't hear their internal dialogues very much. It's most of the characterization we get is between the characters talking to each other. And I understand it's like a different format, but all the characters in Until Dawn suck. They also suck. They're not very good guys. At least most of them. But you end up getting endeared to them because of like just like the way that they would like talk to each other.
Were they like friends? Like were they kind of, because in this book they all kind of hate each other,
and I don't really understand how they're friends.
Yeah.
In Until Dawn, there's reasons for them to dislike certain other members in the groups because of like the incident that happened previously before the events of the game. So they were friends, but they're not really friends. So there's like some frigidness between a lot of the characters, and that like makes sense. But like in this book, it's like so hard for me to wrap around the idea that all these guys are friends.
Yeah.
Because like you're right, which is like they're spending a lot of time alone. They're not talking to each other. And the other thing about Show Don't Tell that I want to bring up is that I totally agree. And like I was reading the first chapter of this, and like there'll literally be lines in the prose of this book that'll be like, and I remember the last time I was in this town. I didn't think I'd ever come back to this town because of the incident. And I was like, oh, well, it's kind of cute, like it's like bad on purpose.
Yeah.
Like it's trying to emulate watching like a slasher movie where it's like maybe like the backstory isn't told as like, integrated into the story as it could have been. So there is a lot of telling. And like that's charming for like a chapter.
Yeah.
The problem is that kind of prose persisted throughout the whole book where it just got like annoying. And yeah.
Another thing that like because it was following a lot of that formula that we were talking about, the ending for me ended up being very obvious which I feel like the fun thing about like the Scream movies is what I mostly watch. So like for example, like I think that one is interesting to try to guess who the killer is. Not that they always do it perfectly, they really don't. But this one, it was just, I was like, you're kind of handing this to me. My one thing is that I had 3 different scenarios in my head, which I will go into detail in the spoiler section. But when I was trying to figure out like if one of them had done it, it was just, I was like, yeah, process of elimination. Like I think it's probably this one. And it's just, I don't know. I think it just got to the end and I was like,
nothing surprising.
No, which is I think again, like the fun things, like almost like in the mystery book, it's like trying to get the clues, try to figure it out. But this one was just, especially because we're all in their heads, so that made it too like, I don't know. I think it's just because also I was annoyed and I was just like, I want to get this over with. So I was like, I'm pretty sure this is what's going. Not that I 100% knew, but it just due to the formula, which again, we'll go into detail in the spoiler section, I think, due to there's a lot of telling on what was going to happen. And yeah, I don't know. It was just kind of like, like I want to get it over with. Like there's nothing new. This is not giving me anything new at all.
So in this book, they spend a lot of time running around in the woods. That's most of the book.
Yeah.
So our activity for this episode, we try to do an activity based off of every book that we read. The activity for this episode was we decided to take a little walk around the woods.
Yeah.
And try to think about if we were in the slasher summer universe, if we would survive.
Yeah. What would we have done differently? Because again, these characters were annoying and dumb. And for people who like have that much knowledge of horror movies, they just really didn't use that. It's just so dumb. Anyways, so that was kind of fun, like walking around the woods.
There are these woods that are nearby where we live, and despite them being so close, like it's like you think that's so close, so you have a lot of time to go there, but like I live so close and like I've never really walked around the whole thing before, and it's like really expansive. And that was just really fun to go like on a little walk, like escape into nature for a little bit of time. And I thought that was really fun.
I was just thinking about like being in the woods at night, because I feel like I don't like, you know, when we go on the
that could have been the activity.
That could have been the activity, but we did not do that. But just thinking about being lost in the woods at night, like in this book, a lot of the times they're like talking about like having their phone flashlight or flashlights and like trying to like turn off the flashlight so they're not found. And I'm just like, that would be terrifying.
Oh yeah, there's like so many situations where I would not be put in the situation of these characters. Most of which I would not walk into the woods.
Yeah,
you would not catch me dead walking into the woods. I would not even be in the woods. I've never been camping.
Yeah,
so you will not catch me in any woods. But taking a little walk around is nice.
But yeah, it is a nice activity that's like nice to add into your routine. It's going on little forest walks.
And this book also inspired me to at least want to read or want to watch more horror movies. There's obviously a lot of classic horror movies that I've not seen. Scream being one of them.
We'll watch Scream.
I do want to watch Scream.
I've never seen, I've been like thinking about it. Like the Friday the 13th and like the Chainsaw Massacre and the, what's the other one? Halloween. Like I've never seen those. I don't know. I have to think about if I would get scared or not. I have to think about it. But
my cat has made me very brave in terms of horror movies.
Because you're never alone?
Because I'm always like, it's just my cat.
Like if
if there's some spooky noise, that's just my cat. He's just making noise.
That's
also,
so true.
I can just like give him a little hug. And my cat's never scared. I'm like, well, why should I be?
Wow. So
my cat is the biggest scaredy cat in the world. So if there was someone in my apartment, he would know. He would be scared out of his mind.
That's like Shannon's guard dog, but it's.
But my guard dog would just run away. But it's like it's a notifier. It's a notifier.
Okay, so we're gonna go into spoilers. So if you don't want to know who dies or who gets or who's the murderer or anything like that, don't listen.
But also, if you don't care.
Yeah, if you don't care, truly, you could listen. It would probably be more entertaining listening to us. Oop.
Yeah. But yeah, we're gonna talk about spoilers.
Okay. So this book.
I feel like we should start with the fact that I don't know if there's anything at the start that you want to talk about, but the fact that no one dies in the first, 150 pages of this
generally,
book.
50%.
Yeah.
I remember, looking at, the chapters, because I think there's about 24 chapters, and I think the first death is on, chapter 12 or something like that. And I know, I was getting annoyed. I was like,
how are all these people gonna die?
I guess Russ died, but also his body disappeared.
I didn't think he was dead, honestly. I'm like, if that body disappeared.
Yeah, I didn't think either.
Yeah.
But I was like, but I also didn't think he was the murderer. So I was like, I don't know where he is. Probably just left. I don't know. But I thought he was going to come back and try to help them.
Oh,
That's what I was waiting for. A scene where he would show up and be trying to help them as the responsible adult. Except he's not adult. He's actually their age. So never mind. I know. But my thing with my 3 different views of what could have happened is that, so it got to that 50% and no one really had died. I was like, oh, this is going to be one of those stories where there's actually no killer. And this is just a big thing where they all think they're but it's just a bunch of coincidences that are which would have been kind of interesting, I guess. I don't know. But so I was like, oh, maybe there's no killer. I literally accepted it. I was like, yeah, I'm just going to continue reading this book. No one's going to die. I'm not scared. There's nothing. And then Freddie died. And I was like, oh, never mind. I was wrong. So I didn't know what kind of slasher movie she was going to, what style she was going for. If she was going to go with the one where it's one of us is the killer, one of the friends, and they have a specific reason. Or if it's going to go with an outsider who is the killer and he's here killing everyone. And maybe he will have some sort of connection to either the slasher movie or the cabin or to these people. So I wasn't sure which one was going to be. So after I realized that someone was killing them, I was like, oh, okay. So it's probably a rando that is coming in. I didn't think it was her boyfriend or anything. But then as the book continued and we could see that there was no way the slasher could be that from one scene to the other in completely different spots. I was like, oh, there's 2 of them. Therefore, this is the one where 2 of us are the killers. So then for me, it was pretty clear kind of who it was. But Shannon, tell me what your thought process was.
I mean, my thought process was I wasn't thinking. I had no thoughts. My thought process was I was reading this book and I was like, oh, is it going to be one of them? I wonder who it is. And then I just kind of stopped thinking about it because nothing about it was entertaining to me to like try to figure it out. So I was like, I'll just let this book try.
I just want to get this done.
I'll let this book try to explain it to me. And then it came down to like the 3 people where it's like kind of obvious it's going to be these last 3 people. Like the other friends were kind of extraneous.
Because then really fast, like Freddie dies, Jen dies, and Tiff dies. Like I feel like it's pretty close together. Yes.
And I guess Mikey's also still there, but I guess it was down to 4 people that it could have been. And I was like, okay, so it's not the gay people. It's not going to be this romance that's been kind of simmering in this book.
I know. I was like, they haven't even kissed. Like, this has to happen.
By the way, this romance was nothing. It was nothing. It was really embarrassing, actually. Because it's kind of like was brought up at the start and then was kind of almost like nothing happened with it.
No.
Until like right at the end.
Yeah.
Where Patrick was like, oh, by the way, Jason, I like you.
Yeah, I know.
Like, if we're gonna die right now.
I guess sometimes in, like, Jason's POV, he was thinking about, like, there would be hints where it'd be like, oh, Patrick. But
nothing happened with them.
No. And also, like, it's been, like, if you're, like, maybe if you're in high school, you're not gonna understand this. But once you're out of high school, you just, like, don't think about that time anymore. No. Like, obviously, you can keep your friend. Like, Shannon and I were friends in high school and we're still friends. Like, obviously, it's not like that part of your life dies. But
all the issues.
Crushes, like, years after, like, you already moved to a different town and you're doing this. And, like, your crush has a girlfriend, too. So, like, why are you still putting energy into this? Like, dude, find someone else.
Yeah, no. And I mean, all of them were obsessed with like who they were in high school. All of them were giving peaked in high school. But yeah, then it got to the point where it was down to the 4 of them. I was like, okay, it's not these 2. So, oh yeah, it's these. It's Carrie and Mikey. Yeah. I did think like the 2 seconds after the Carrie reveal, I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. Like all of them were going, it's not Carrie. It can't be Carrie. And I thought, oh, it being the girl is kind of fun.
Yeah.
But then, like, I thought about it for, like, 0.2 more seconds, and then I was kind of over it. The part about the Carrie reveal that I didn't really like is that, well, one, she's doing it because she's kind of getting revenge on all these people because of the incident that happened in high school, which is that she ends up taking, like, a sexually suggestive photo of herself, sending it to her crush at the time, and then that photo gets plastered up across the school, and she kind of has this like good girl, like goody two shoes kind of persona in high school, and then that incident kind of ruined her, I guess.
Yeah.
In that specific small town, like I don't really see how that would really. I mean, like I understand that that's probably like soul crushing when you're in high school, you know.
But it's just like everyone has seen this photo. Like, guys, I don't know.
And then throughout the book, you hear about Carrie like going to therapy and stuff. And then you realize that she actually is not over it and is actually using this as like a revenge on all these people that were part of that night. But she's using like this like therapy speak to like validate what she's doing. Yeah. And it's just like really annoying. You kind of get the hint that her therapist is like not really good.
Yeah.
And like was pushing Carrie to commit mass murder. But this therapist character kind of comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like it's not a character. And so it's like, I don't really understand how Carrie got to this point.
Yeah, like why does her therapist care so much about this? Like, what?
I also don't really know why Mikey is her accomplice.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, they were friends in high school and she was the only one who was nice to.
Because she was in love with him. They've known each other since they were little.
Yeah, but like what?
I guess she probably was like, I need to kill my ex-boyfriend. Why would you think of Mikey? And like, yeah,
I don't
know.
But Mikey and Jason are like cousins.
Yeah.
Like they have a really close relationship
with Jason's family, which I guess he hated.
So that's kind of the reveal. And then, but it was just such a whatever reveal to me. Like, it's like, I can't even muster up the energy to be like, well, it didn't really make sense. It's just like, Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I know. I like it. It made, I'm not gonna say which Scream movie, but it made me think of Scream. The review. I think that there's one specific Scream movie that really comes to mind, but even I do like that turn. Like, yeah, like you said, like I do like at least that moment of the review of her being like suddenly her mood shifts and
yeah,
they don't realize yet, and Patrick's like slowly realizing because of like her stance, and he's like, oh wait, why does she look like kind of strong and like and then when Mikey's like, what did he say? He was like, is she coming up? And he's like, yeah, she's making her way up, and he's like, oh good, and they're like
pushes him down the stairs.
So I do like that twist, but then also I was like, I know the reason why I was pretty confident on who it was like, okay, so Freddie just died really fast, and that's when I was like, oh, maybe it is one of us. Freddie, and then Jen died real fast. Jen was just too intense, and she was like, oh my god, I could kill all of these people. Like she just kept like having like weird thoughts because she's like the goth girl. So I was like, there's no way it's Jen. Tiffany, there was just no way it was going to be Tiffany.
I think it would have been super rad if it was Tiffany.
I wish it had been Tiffany.
I wish it had been Tiffany.
It was not Tiffany, clearly. And it was like not going to be Jason because it was also, they're trying to make it too obvious because Jason was like suddenly acting weird recently and being like having like anger issues, and Tiffany was kind of scared of him. And there was like one moment where he mentioned that he was having like, when they fell from that cliff thing and he was walking, he like zoned out, and then he didn't realize where he was, and he was like, he had like a flash where he didn't, and I was like, oh, is he having like blackouts or something? He's killing people like for a second. Also the Carrie thing, like they harped on her being the final girl so much that I'm like, she's not gonna be the final girl in that sense. She's gonna be the killer, and there's gonna be a second person, and Mikey's just like made sense. And then when they were attacking them and they pushed Patrick down the stairs, I was like, there's no way Patrick's dead. First of all, we didn't see the body. Second, Patrick is black and gay, and his sister died from being murdered. I'm like, that would be an awful thing for the author to do, to kill Patrick.
There was also this whole bit like before the final scene where Patrick was going off about like, yeah, I'm the final girl. I was like, oh, so he's gonna be the final, like he's gonna be the last one.
Yeah, because he had been pushed downstairs. So at that point, we only had Jason, and I was like, there was no way Jason is the final girl. Why would it be Jason? So when Patrick and I was like, okay, yeah, Patrick is, because then Jason, they tried to trick us thinking that Jason died. Which I do not care. But like, sure, whatever, they survived, it's nice. I think it's good because Patrick, when he was, I think it was Jason actually, or someone who was fighting against Carrie, I think it was Jason, I actually got worried at that moment because he was like, if he kills Carrie and Mike, and if everyone's dead, no one is gonna believe Jason that he wasn't the killer. Like, and so even for a moment, I was like, oh my god, pick up your phone and I'll try to record this. But then she would have seen his phone because he was trying to hide. And I was literally like, so it's good that two people survived so they could be alibis for each other, like explain what happened. Because yeah, if one of them had, like, if only one of them had lived, I'm like, yeah, clearly the killer. Like, how are you're gonna try to convince me that Carrie killed all these people? No.
I mean, that's what Carrie was saying.
Yeah. So that was crazy. Yeah, and also when Freddie died, he was the first death, the killer sneezed, and Carrie had sneezed earlier, or she just sneezed earlier, or she mentioned that in the smell of like the weed from his van gave her allergies or whatever, it made her sneeze. So the moment she sneezed, I was like, oh, it's Carrie. Great, thanks for giving that to me. It was too early. So yeah, you see how it wasn't an original surprising thing. Yeah. Like the being like, oh, the big twist is that the final girl is the killer, but like, it's just so obvious. It's kind of like, you know, when it's like those things when people say like it's always the husband, but like in like a killer cheater scenario, they're like, oh, but then it's always the husband, so they're like, so we're gonna make the wife the crazy one, so that's like a twist. But it's like, it's not, because then you're making it just too obvious. Like, it's just, try something different. Or like, if you are gonna make Carrie the killer, like maybe give her even another secret motive. Yeah. Because that motive that they were giving was one that they had been talking about the entire book. So I'm like, yeah, well, sure.
It's going to be that one. There's like this, like in the first scene, Carrie goes and talks to her mom. And it's obvious that she has a fraught relationship with her mom. But like, that's kind of like not really brought up.
No.
and factor into Carrie's actions in the book,
Yeah.
other than we know her mom doesn't like Carrie.
Yeah, I think that the only thing is like adding to the photo ruined her life because her mom kind of almost disowned her after. So one thing that I actually did like, it's just a little detail, but I did like the Rocky Horror Picture Show style that they did for the slasher movies and how all these characters were playing the heart. And then so I liked the idea of like everyone was screaming virgin at Carrie every night, or everyone was screaming nerd at Mikey every night, or whatever. So all these, or jock at whatever, because it's the Rocky Horror Picture Show, people like yell out at the screen. So that's what they did with the slasher. And I liked that detail. I thought that was a cool addition, and it wasn't like an obvious addition like a lot of the references were. Like, it was a reference to Rocky Horror Picture Show, but I think it was an interesting reference, and I think it played interestingly with the character, or it would have if the characters weren't so big into their stereotypes. Because, like, yeah, that is the jock. Like, yeah, that is the goth girl. Like, if it had been a little more subtle, but they were internalizing those things that people were yelling them,
yeah,
that would have been cool. So I didn't like that, but it could have been used better. And I was just going to talk about like the death scenes and how they were really gory.
Yes.
But the internal monologue of those characters as they were being killed, like, was kind of ruining the scene. For example, with Freddy, when he was being like chased, like, that was terrifying. He's being chased around. He's being like an axe murderer is after him. And his first thought is like, oh, there's charcuterie board. Let me grab some of the cheese and put it in my mouth. Like, bro, like, I don't know. There were a lot of little things in that scene. I can't remember like at the top of my head the different thoughts he had, but I know he had like a crazy amount of just like really stupid thoughts that you're not gonna have when you're being chased by an axe murderer. Or like when Tiffany was that was a crazy scene too, when she was being killed in the lake.
I thought that was the scariest scene, with her being in the lake.
Gosh, imagine, yeah, because you can't escape.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do. The only thing was like, go swim down, but also even then, like,
then you're losing like a sight.
Yeah.
Like, that would be really scary.
Yeah, that scene was crazy. But yeah, I remember like one of the thoughts she had, like two of the thoughts. Like, one of them was, I think she got slashed on the leg or whatever. And she was like, oh, at least thank God cheerleader wear tights. And I'm like, I would not be thinking about
my cheerleading career.
No, I got bigger things to worry about. Or when she was dying, her last thought was like, oh, I won't have an open casket. Like, you're not thinking about like, no one, I mean, I don't know, but I don't think anyone would really be like, oh, people aren't going to see how pretty I look in a casket because they can't show because I'm going to be all like cut up. Like, that's not your last thought. You're not going to think that. So that really pissed me off because I think the author could have done something cooler and not. But again, I guess that kind of, yeah, like you said, like the slapstick thing, like the.
But it's like, then she also just didn't go all the way into slapstick. So it just was like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a world where you could have combined those two things, like the slasher element and the slapstick element. And I just don't see it working.
The only thing I think of is like that movie, the Scary Movie.
Yes.
You know, the Scary Movies?
Yes, I do, yeah.
Which are basically like making fun of the movies.
But then you're sort of making fun of it. And I think the author wanted to be like a genuine like tribute to these kinds of stories.
But then like, I wouldn't call this book a comedy because it's not funny. But then there's like
But there's funny.
But there's like trying to be funny.
Yeah.
It just made me cringe so much. A lot of their inner monologue, I was cringing really hard. I was like, there's no one thinks that. No one says that. But that's kind of it, to be honest. Like, I wouldn't personally recommend this
I wouldn't recommend this book
even
either.
though I did recommend it in the previous episode. But that was a little trick.
To see if you were paying attention. So thank you for listening to this episode. So I actually have a new mic. So you hear me crystal clear, hopefully.
So Shannon probably sounds way better than I do. Which is, I will get a new mic soon, too.
Yeah.
But yay, that's it. Like, we're leveling up.
Yeah, we're getting better. I actually like it quite a bit, so hopefully it sounds good. If you enjoyed this episode, you can leave a review on Spotify, on YouTube. You can give us a like. You can email us at betweenthebookspod@gmail.com. Have you read Slasher Summer? Or is there any other horror books that like take place in summer that you've read? We'd love to know your recommendations. We also have Instagram now. You can follow us at betweenthebookspod. We will be posting images of our walk in the woods. So if you'd like to see more pictures, you can follow us there.
And also something cool that I like about this book is the cover. I think the cover is really nice.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah, throw that in there.
I forgot to say that. So you can see the photo of it on our Instagram. I think
the cover is really good.
Because it looks like a VHS movie cover and it has like illustrations of each character. So I liked having like the visuals for them too. I thought it looks really cool. Unfortunately, it was used in the book that wasn't good. But the visuals look really cool. I could see people judging the book by its cover and buying it thinking it was going to be good, which was kind of how we felt.
I also feel kind of sad because Chen is Canadian.
I know.
We're hating. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to say.
Sorry, Chen.
Anyway. We will see you in the next episode.
Bye.